the recording in progress. You are all set.
Following a motion duly adopted to leave executive session, the board discussed in closed session only those matters relating to financial and employment history of a particular people. No decision or vote was made or taken during the executive session. The time now is 8:38. So we'll go there.
Number 6.
Review and recommendation of the approval to the full board. Ray, you're going to
Oh,
continue
yeah,
on.
sorry.
You're going to continue on your. Did you finish your?
I did finish the review of the budget, so there are no additional questions. I think we're.
Additional questions, so we look for a motion for approval to the full board.
So move. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion is carried. Item number 6. Review and recommendation of a resolution of the full board authorizing the partial redemption of treasury notes prior to maturity in accordance with the agency's investment policies in an amount needed to pay costs related to the planning and development of Broome County Technology Park at Airport Road at the direction of the agency's investment advisor.
Okay, so you have, we've provided a cash flow analysis that we started to be compile in 2022 when we began our first option agreement for the proposed Broome Technology Park. I turn your attention to 2025. We have reached the point where our reimbursable funds, which is the roughly $1 million in New York State Fast New York programs, are not available to us at this point in time to cover future expenses or current and future expenses. Last month, the Audit and Finance and the board approved allocating a maturity, 3 maturities, 2 that it became mature in August 31st of this year, and 1 that is planned to mature at the end of November. That roughly totaled just about $2 million. So we have allocated the first 2 maturities to our operational budget. You see that in September, under the cash flow analysis, about 500,000 of those funds have been allocated to the tech park. We are at the point in time where we are planning to close on the purchase for the Della Penna properties. That roughly totals about 1.2 to 1.4. We're waiting on Joe Mayer for a final closing cost dollar figures, but we expect it to run somewhere between 1.2 and 1.4 million for the acquisition of those properties, which would leave us with a shortage of funds to make that transaction final. So we are requesting an early release, if you will, or to pull from that maturity account in the month of October for an amount of $1.5 million. That would leave us the funds to close the transaction with Della Penna, and we'd also have the maturity coming due at the end of November to support overall cash flow. If you turn to 2026, we have stayed conservative on the reimbursement for the funds from New York State. Just quickly, the first $500,000 grant we received was essentially to cover costs associated with the generic environmental impact statement. That is all the studies that are underway and architecture and design work that is underway and all supporting parts of that process. We were told we cannot request reimbursement for those funds until the GEIS is final or complete. We expect to bring the draft final GEIS to the board sometime in November or December of this month. Once the board adopts the draft final, it has to go out to a public hearing. We have to have a minimum of a 30-day comment period for that, and then we have to review those comments and then update the draft accordingly and then bring it back to the board. I am planning to have a conversation with ESD to see if there is any opportunity that when the draft final goes out, would they consider that complete and can we begin the process of reimbursement, because reimbursement takes several months. So I've stayed somewhat prudent, hopefully, not too aggressive by putting that first reimbursement in April of 2026. The second $500,000 is for the engineering and design work for the utility infrastructure and for the wastewater infrastructure. That is actual design work. It's not studies, feasibility. It's hard to engineering design work. So it will be an abbreviated process compared to the GEIS process. So I'm, again, making some assumptions here, but I've put that reimbursement on or around December of 2026. So that is when some funds will come back to the organization to pay back some of those withdrawals. So looking at the end of 2026, which is when I would say phase one, if you will, of this process would be near complete or near completion. It does leave us with a potential net cash shortage of about $277,000. To this end, we are in active conversations with New York State and our federal representatives about additional funds to support this development phase. But just wanted to give you a snapshot of where we are and see if there was any questions.
So those notes that we're gonna take, they mature in this November? Or
So
next?
they would not be matured. We would actually pull them prior to
But they're
maturity.
scheduled to mature this year or next year?
Just next year.
Next
You
year.
only
Just
need
one.
right?
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
No.
Just that top one.
I was gonna sell like
Yeah,
a
that's
staggered
fine.
allotment of ones at a gain rather than a loss.
Right.
That way we still have maturity schedules that spread out over time. Our investment advisor was gonna do kind of a scheduled sale. He'd
Mhm.
pick different ones that would be at a gain rather than a loss, since we don't pay capital gains.
So he'll pull some from
Oh,
each, not like
Yeah,
the
from the-
whole chunk.
Yeah,
Right.
that way we still have maturity spread throughout time.
Right, and the one that was previously approved, there was about $994,000, that is set to mature in November 30th.
Yeah.
We can reassess where we're at on that one, and if we feel we need all or part of that,
Correct.
we can, we will just, can let the committee know where we're at on that one.
that.
But there, the Della Penna, closing is.
If we pull it
Kind
That's
of
gonna
definitive.
mature.
Right, but if we pull it now, it'll be.
Yeah,
a
yeah, yeah.
loss.
That was
We don't-
I said.
But you're gonna have that coming down.
Right.
The reason why the Della
We'll have
Penna
it in
is not
December.
closed, well, I
You
mean,
need
they're,
another 500.
Well, we need the money beforehand.
we've had renewals and that's.
So, yeah, so we kind of have to.
And then have been in the process of closing. One of the issues we ran into with the Della Penna property was some issues related to the survey. And we had a second survey done to confirm, the properties that are within the option. There were some parcels that there was some confusion because there were some parcels adjacent to the property under the option that, at the time of the option said no data in the GIS system. I know we've talked about that. So Della Penna, at their request, they had slowed this down, to do this review. There was a number of issues that they wanted to review, so, we're at the point now where
So we're gonna close on everything, those two checkerboard pieces?
checkerboard pieces have been excluded per the surveys.
Yeah.
They are separate parcels, so we will have to discuss those as separate
Separate, and how about the sliver?
transactions. That they're part of the.
That's part of
sliver is
that.
Part of the
Right.
checkerboard.
Parcel, now.
We're
now
gonna
it is.
confirm this before we close it, we wanna make, there was a lot of, confusion on this because the Broome County's GIS system had them labeled, did not have them labeled, I should say, there was no tax map ID on them at the time of our option, and then some point midway through, there was, and it became a separate parcel, so we wanted to clarify.
But the large parcel was labeled 156 acres, when in fact it's only 117.
Right, yes, and so we're working just to validate all of the costs associated with the parcels, make sure the parcels are
We're paying so much
Accurately.
an acre.
5,000.
Yeah, so it's important to get the acres
Exactly.
right.
Yes, correct.
The other 39 acres is the checkerboard.
right.
And the sliver, right.
So we expect to bring the closing of this to the board in October.
Tell them.
So that's that.
We would expect to bring the approval of the purchase to the board in October.
What's A and E on there? I should.
Architects and
Oh,
engineering.
all right, okay, yeah.
Arts and entertainment.
That's the channel.
Got more
Yeah.
sophisticated.
Right.
Architect and engineering.
Any other questions for Stacy?
No.
For a motion to.
So moved. Second.
All in favor, aye?
All right.
Carried, move to the floor. Old business? We are. Motion to adjourn is in order.
So moved.